I'm Brandon.
And I'm Jesse.
We're Cannabis School. Having cannabis-infused conversations
With everyday people,
cannabis companies,
celebrities,
and your mom.
welcome to the Sesh.
Yeah.
They've been able to decipher quite a bit of that. Mayan glyphs. They got about 80% of them deciphered.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
And the glyphs together have been mapping like their cosmological cycles, which align with eerily with solar flares and orbital events.
Yeah.
So they've got
Because what they can track.
right, but how were they able to track it? Just peering into the sky, like
It's got to be cyclical.
But not only that,
It's
though. I mean,
trackable.
the idea though, it's like
Right? Isn't that most of our things we track as cyclical stuff? Most?
somewhat, but I mean,
Or patterns?
huge vasts of time.
Yeah.
So,
extended ones, yeah.
Where and this is something like, you know, I've pondered on, like, because there's a lot of people that want to be able to, you got your secularist and then you got your crazy evangelical devotee to a religion, right? Not necessarily a belief, just a religion. And one will always try to say that the other one doesn't have anything to stand on, right? That
Well, it's because it's to discredit the other, because it's
Right,
the
but-
ultimate truth. Yeah.
But the problem is that they'll go, well, how do we know this? Well,
Yeah.
historical facts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how about this one? These are historical facts. Yeah, but they don't fall in line with my beliefs.
Yeah.
And so that's where it's got to be completely gray, and it's got to be a what if scenario, because we don't know. We're not going to know.
I feel like that's even science as a belief it's very dogmatic even within there, you know, that they're like, well, that
That's a good
doesn't
part.
fall within my, like you said, what I think is real. And so it's interesting that so many of our minds are very different in that. But where you were saying, like, it would have to be tracked over such a long period of time, I was thinking that's probably that's multiple generations. Like, how would they know, hey, look for this thing? Or maybe it's a story that had been passed down so long that it was like, hey, in this, and we saw it again in this time, and then we saw it, but like, what things have we really had? I mean, the moon, the sun, you know, the rotations of the earth, the seasons, those things have been the cyclical patterns that we've found. But like, how would you track something that is multiple generations? You think like 5, 10, 20 generations long between a cycle happening. That's an insane type of trackable sort of data.
Well,
right?
and,
You know?
and here's the part that comes along with it, that it's a fallacy in its own, because the way that people believe is that if science has proven it, then it's true.
It's correct, yeah. And science
But
can't
it's not.
be-
Science is undeniably false,
well,
because
there's new data or new things. Or
that's why it's not true.
Continuously changing.
Yeah, it's always furthering your education, furthering your knowledge on what's going on with that. And the problem is, you got individuals who are really smart people in one specific field, like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Fidget.
I can't fucking stand that guy. The reason why is that he dips his toes in things that he doesn't know anything about.
Yeah, butt stuff? What the fuck?
Yeah, Brandon knows all about that.
Yeah, check out my OnlyFans. Dude, this thing is brilliant.
I know, right?
Bomb SciCloud.
See, I love that little one.
Got a code for us, Cannabis School. Save yourself 10%. Get yourself a bomb. SciCloud.
Yeah, the
And cough
Cycloud.
yourself a little bit.
Bama. That's Obama.
It's Obama. Obama?
Boma.
Obama. Okay.
Obama Cyclone.
Interesting. I thought it was bomb. B-O-M-B. Oh, that's funny. It's just the way the A is shaped. I didn't give it that much.
Or maybe it is a B. Or no, it is bomb. Shit, I don't know. I smoke weed.
Is he done?
Oh, there's still plenty in there.
Oh, you shut it off. So.
Yeah, so I don't burn it out. Ooh.
Well, you just said it's still going.
Oh, was. Do you have enough in there?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Start
I was
it up
like,
again.
I'd still hit that.
So that's something that I was going through, like my notes and stuff, and looking up certain things, is that science is supposed to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
You're supposed to prove it wrong because it's just the theory. And the problem is that you got a lot of really simple-minded people who go, well, that guy's smarter than me. Let's just listen to him or her or them or whatever the fuck. But
Well, I think it's because science science in my head, my mind, is about discovery. And you might not discover always the truth, but you're discovering new things.
Well,
And
but
we don't know everything. And so we can't assume that what we've learned is the last data point or last thing we will learn and going to be correct. And that in the field of science, we've found so many times that other theories and that have disproven other theories. So
right, but
it would be weird to go, hey,
would you not? Well, I wouldn't. I wouldn't
to have a dogma of like,
It is
this
dogmatic, though. Science is super
100%.
dogmatic.
Yes, just like religion. But it's
Yeah.
it's that like having that mind of like, okay, well, if we approach science of, hey, this is just discovery. It's always discovery. There's no truth. This is what we found out now, and we'll probably find something out later that we don't know because well, we also don't know it now. But if we keep trying to discover things, we will learn that there's something else that we haven't discovered, and there's something else we haven't discovered, and sometimes that will alter other things we've already known because hey, that we didn't know, so that actually alters what we thought reality or what we knew was because it was based on our previous flawed belief system that didn't have this new information in it, which
It would
isn't
be
bad,
nice. It would be nice.
but it's the same with most thoughts.
Well, no, I mean, the reason why that science is the way it is now, at least my belief and what I've been able to see quite a bit, and I've done a lot of digging, not beyond the YouTube realm, lots of research, it's money. When money gets tied to somebody's well-being, where they can actually provide a living by being able to be a scientist, such as Neil deGrasse Tyson. He is an astrophysicist.
Yeah.
Astrophysicist. Now he gets into quantum mechanics, and then he's into biology and science and any kind of science beyond his expertise. The only person I've heard
It's
recently.
like talking to a doctor. How many
Well-
doctors speak in expertise outside of their field of expertise often?
Well, but that's the reason why we've got a lot of specialized doctors, which has been nice.
Yeah.
I saw a general practitioner not too long ago, and I was talking about hormone treatments, and he says, I don't know enough about that to prescribe that.
That's fantastic.
And I was like,
love
cool.
that transparency. I feel there's not enough of that with.
Well, again, it's tied to livelihood. Most doctors and PAs, well, you take a PA or a doctor right now, or a nurse practitioner, they don't make very much. They don't bring home very much, especially when it costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars to go through school, to have a profession, to help other people, yet you can't help yourself. For many years, many, many years. And that's why they specialize. And if they specialize, that's great, but now it limits the amount of people that are out there to be treated on the basic stuff. So it's like when people wanted to be surgeons in like the late 80s, early 90s, everybody went to plastic surgery because you would make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, tie that to science, right? You got Michu, that Japanese dude who's got the white hair, who always speaks in very weird tones. Like, it's just like really sing-songy, but he
Is that just from their culture or?
No, he doesn't sound Japanese. He is white.
Because the most interesting
Japanese don't speak.
The most
white.
interesting thing to me was the conversation with Nareth over lunch when he was talking about all the inflection tones of all the Asiatic people and stuff. I don't hang out with tons of Asians. I don't know tons of Asian people. Yeah, I went to China, but that's been most of my experience aside from television or, with that type of culture. So I didn't know the depth of inflection in that came with like Vietnamese or other stuff. And so when he was saying stuff and talking in certain dialects, and I was like, that's fucking funny because I've not been ingrained in that. You probably way more with all the like martial arts and going to Asiatic countries in the military.
And I studied Mandarin and learning about the four different tones, and that's what I based my cognitive tone dynamics on.
Japanese don't really do that?
No.
Interesting.
Yes and no. The Asian dialects, some of them, not all of them, but primarily those ones. I mean, like one of them he said was like 9 Thai. There's 9.
Yeah, in there. Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, cool. But in what I learned in Mandarin was that there's an upward inflection, a downward inflection, an up and down, and then a flat. Where one thing you could say would mean mother with an upward inflection, but with a downward inflection, it means horse. So now you're like, okay, how does that change? But in the Spanish language, Very same. If I
But
say
it's not inflection,
papa,
though, right?
papa, that means dad. Or it can also mean potato. Different inflection. And so it's how you say it that will do that. Now, English language, we do it too.
It's like 2, 2, and 2.
Well, it's exactly. It's like
Same words.
If I
just
say
with-
this, if I say this term, let's go in 4 different ways. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, it
Let's
still
go.
means the same thing, but it has. It's not like potato and mother.
No, but
But-
there's a different.
It is a different
It's a-
tonality and implied
Yeah.
mood associated.
Yeah, other languages don't have that. They have defined, like, you take Spanish and Latin and Portuguese and Italian.
There's a lot of bass. Well, even French.
Masculine,
Yeah.
feminine tones, right? But
Well, and
with,
even the base of their words, there's so many similarities. All of those too.
like, a lot of people believe that the English language originated from Latin, but it didn't. It was like from a Germanic and Norse and another language where it started to go. Like the way we speak now, like if you read a King James Bible, an original King James Bible edition, they have different new ones.
Yes.
But if you have that one, we can go back to that time and probably do well enough to understand and then acclimate into their society and understand what's going on.
100%. Well, because we can read books and stuff from that time and go, oh, this is what they... It
Right.
makes sense.
The old English, going back to like the 400s, 500s,
That would be a whole different...
it's totally different language. It totally sounds different. That's where like Gaelic and all those other things started coming from. With Gaelic, I think, is a beautiful language. It's so crazy the way it sounds and why it's there.
I think Emily has some Gaelic singer female things that I've heard before, and it is very beautiful.
Watch the show Outlander. They
Okay.
speak Gaelic in that.
Oh,
They're talking about the Jacobites when they were fighting against the British. This is like time where they still had swords, but they also used guns, the flintlocks and stuff like
Oh.
that. So very cool timepiece. Pretty intense show. I couldn't get past the first season because the last of it was,
too intense for Jesse. Holy shit, that's saying
dude, it's
something.
pretty intense. Now, I mean, a lot of people got past
Do
it,
you
but
have any other any other shows or movies that you can think of that have been that same way for you? Just to give me a perspective of like maybe what is too much for Jesse.
oh no, there's very few things that are too much for me.
Yeah, so I figured.
That one has to do with it. Rape in general is not something I'll
That
be cool with on scene,
is my biggest.
but nowhere else have I ever seen male rape done in a way where it made me so uncomfortable. Not that I'm okay with male rape. Let's clear the air on that. But it, like, you see a prison movie or Pulp Fiction,
Yeah.
like it's implied.
Yeah.
This one is so intense
That
and
was-
so graphic that it hurts you. Like,
It was like the hills. Rape for me. It makes me feel disgusting inside. Like when it's in shows or movies,
that.
I don't like watching it.
Okay.
The Hills Have Eyes. I love horror movies. Nothing in a horror movie. I'd watched all the Saw ones, like everything else. Hannibal Lecter, like Chainsaw Massacre. None of those. It was fine. It was just a movie. But then it got to The Hills Have Eyes. It's not a scary movie, but they
There was
went
something
and they were
disturbing in it.
like, they were going to rape this woman in her trailer, and I turned it off. I was like, fuck this. This is messed up. I can't watch this because it was like it was so that I don't know. That's
See, it's
always
a
bothered
difference,
me.
right? A sex scene is different from a rape scene.
Because it's consensual. Because consensual is like, hey, that can be beautiful. It can be totally different. Even if it's weird and freaky, it can still be beautiful. It's consensual. It's a whole different thing than taking away someone's right of choice on that. And like,
then here's the part of me that goes, I can't look away. Because if a writer or a creator can pull me into a situation that's completely fabricated,
Oh, yeah.
everybody's safe,
it's so fake. Yep.
but it still makes you feel like that. Like, that's what I don't understand about actresses like Brie Larson. Back in the day, she was in this movie where she played this real life girl who was held underneath the ground of the house in a dungeon
Yeah.
for most of her life. She was kidnapped. She had a daughter or a boy or something,
Yes.
raised the kid in there, never had been outside, finally escaped. She played this woman. She did so well.
Oh, yeah.
And then she comes out with like a bunch of trash. And the reason why it's trash is because it's not acting. Marvel is not acting. Marvel is neat. I've seen better acting in video games
Oh, yeah.
than I've seen in all the Marvel
Because
movies.
they're super fucking lame. Like,
But
it's
they're
a fun idea.
they have
It's
like a
fun.
couple of really good characters that you like, and then everybody else is kind of like anecdotes. Like nobody's excited about Black Widow. She was a cool character.
It's the friend showing up to the party, the sesh with a disty, going, "Oh, I got all my disties."
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
like, "We got joints. Fuck off."
Yeah.
And he's
You don't
like,
need
"But I
that.
got disties," and you're like, "Go to the corner with the other kids and play with your disties."
But that's the thing, man. There's like no real testing of it. And like those movies, like horror movies, don't get me.
They
Horror
don't-
movies never
no.
get me.
It's not-
They're boring to me.
I laugh at him, and I'm like, "Okay, like that's not real. That's stupid." The ones that usually get me are the ones that I'm like, "That felt more real to me." Most horror movies are like so fake, and it doesn't, like, no sense of it feels real. And I'm like, this is so cheesy.
That's
like,
why
there's
you get, like,
nothing about this that
Good suspense films. Like,
Oh.
you ever seen the movie Prisoners with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal and I think it's Terrence Howard? It's about these two girls. They go missing and they're kidnapped, but nobody knows where they went. And these two fathers are trying to do everything they can to find their daughters who are friends. And this detective, he's kind of looking at all these things, and it's somebody in the town, but he has these like kids put away somewhere, right? And the fathers take it upon themselves to find them, and they start getting hints and stuff like that, and they start trying to take the law in their own hands. And the cop is trying to help capture the guy and all this crazy shit. But it is one
That's
of the
Prisoners?
it's called Prisoners. It is an intense film. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's not that I like intense films. I like to see like raw emotion. Like yesterday, I saw this clip. I saw this thing on Tom Cruise, and it was funny because the guy was right. He's one of the best actors of our generation. He's right. Like, I can remember so many movies growing up where I watched him in it.
Oh,
From
yeah.
Top Gun.
Yeah.
But he's been in everything. He's been in rom-coms. He's been in dramas. But the one movie called Magnolia, have you ever seen that? Where he's got long hair? Dude, this movie, it was crazy because after this movie, he stopped doing drama. And he only did action.
Interesting. Just
And-
because of the role he played.
Well, dude, this guy, he's like supposed to be like the ultimate pickup artist. And he goes in like his line. He goes, it was something about, glorify the cock and tame the cunt or something like that. And I mean, it was fucking funny, dude. But he is like this ultimate, like, I'm the cool guy. Like, you see him all the time now. Like the guy, they got fucking digital billboards up there like, are you ready? And it's got some old dude's face who's all like angry. Maybe he's got tattoos on his arm and shit. They're all fresh. He just got his new sleeve. And he's just like, oh, this guy seems like he knows what's going on. He's going to help me make millions by me giving him money to go listen to him and a bunch of other fucking guys who are trying to figure out how to keep making money.
Yep.
But it felt like that. And then this woman interviews him, but she had done her business and really researched this guy and knew that he changed his name. Tom changed his name. He just got rid of his last name.
Yeah.
He took his middle name as his last name.
That's hilarious.
And his dad was really abusive to him and his family. I think mom left him, and she struggled raising him. And even when Tom was an actor, his dad never saw any of his movies.
Holy cow.
Yeah, like he had this horrible relationship. And you saw Tom throughout his early career, he was taking on like emotional roles.
Yeah.
And he would go really in, but this guy has this theory that it broke him because the guy wrote it all like this character for this show, and it's about regret.
Okay.
The whole movie's about regret. And this guy's dad is dying of cancer. They tell him he's dying of cancer. And he fucking hates this guy. But when he goes to him and go and watch the scene, maybe, you know what? I'll find the clip and we'll put it down there. Why not? You guys can watch it. But it is one of the most raw, emotional, and everybody in the room. Philip Seymour Hoffman, you know who he was?
No.
He was a really good actor. He died of a heroin overdose. He had such a crazy range of acting skills. He looked like nobody. But he would take a role and he would become that person. And it was so crazy, but
It is really crazy to think about. I never gave it a lot of thought until probably the last more handful of years. And it was more just realizing, because half the time I'd be watching a show with my kid or with Emily or something, and they make a comment because they're like so drawn into this reality. And I'm like, well, that's what they're scripted to say. Because I'm like so pulled apart from it that I'm like, I'm just watching it as like this compilation of things. And I'm like, I love when the story actually draws me in, that it pulls me into that, because that's what I'm looking for most of the time. But most of them are so terribly written. The acting is pure shit. The story is just garbage that I'm like, okay, this is like mind-numbing dumbness. Like it's just background noise.
dude, it's pretty, like, after watching this thing, I had a lot of respect for actors who really practice a craft. Yeah. You know, like
that they become that character. Like they embody that so much into like the role they're playing and stuff.
It's like, you know, even Hugh Jackman, I never really considered him a great actor until I saw The Greatest Showman. And the only reason why I liked that, because it totally blew me away. Now, I know you've got negative feelings with that one.
I was impressed because I never knew that he was like a Broadway actor singer before. And his vocals, I was like, fuck.
That's cool.
I was really impressed with that.
That's why I appreciate real actors.
I hadn't seen that versatility, that side of Hugh Jackman. I knew him as Wolverine. And Wolverine, you know, that was the only aspect I really knew of him. And then
it's like Mel Gibson back in the 90s. Like, he was an action dude, and then he makes one of the biggest films of all time.
Or like
multiple.
Gosh.
He's done some amazing films.
Jim Carrey. Not Jim Carrey. Yeah, Jim Carrey. And then he did that one serious one about numbers or whatever it was. Number 43 or 40.
Yeah, he did Sunshine of the Spotless Mind as well.
It's just so weird to see these characters who so much have one persona almost in their entire career, and then one or two like just outliers that are just, what in the fuck is this?
Dude, you want to get a big, crazy, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Go watch Uncut Gems, starring Adam Sandler. He is in a serious role. It's about a shiesty guy in New York who deals in diamonds. Dude, it's crazy. It's like Steve Carell in Foxcatcher. He plays a schizophrenic billionaire from the DuPont family. DuPont.
Oh, okay.
And I think I mentioned on one of the... Yeah. So that one, watching his acting credits, then go watch him in The Big Short.
Huge difference.
Yeah. And then go watch him in the Evan one. What's the one? Evan Almighty.
Evan Almighty.
Yeah.
Doesn't he play like a mentally challenged or someone else in another? Oh, no, that's The Ringer, and that's someone else.
Oh, no, like, if you want to talk about that, Leonardo DiCaprio did in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. He plays a mentally retarded kid. And he does and what I mean by mentally retarded is that literally, like, when you think of lower developmental he's like a 16-year-old in the movie. Johnny Depp is the older brother. The mother is this gigantically fat woman. And back then they didn't have CGI, so it was a giant
just a large
woman.
Lady, yeah.
And she was prisoner in her own home. And the oldest brother has to stay there and take care of everybody, but he wants to get out of this shitty little one-stop town. Like, it literally has one light. He delivers groceries.
That was Santa Quinn years ago. It was
Yeah.
one little stoplight.
Yeah, and it's like...
And it was a four-way stop sign light.
Exactly. Like, they have one of the light right there. And, dude, it's like this whole town, and it's about this guy who just can't escape his life because he's got to be the good guy. He can't do anything for himself. He's got to take care of his mom, his retarded brother,
Obligation
his sister.
breeds resentment.
Yep. And then he's having an affair with this woman in town because it's the only thing. And she's like, she's like, I need something. I'm going crazy. And she's like, I'm going to bang the grocery store guy. And dude, it's just crazy. Like it's anxiety inducing because you're like, yeah, because he is so passive the entire time and you could just feel it boiling. And then on top of it, you've got his mentally retarded brother. Like the best scene in that movie, dude, Leonardo DiCaprio's in the bathtub because his brother had to wash him still. And so he totally forgot about him. And then it's nighttime and he remembers and he goes upstairs and he's in the water just shivering and he's blue, just cold.
Jeez.
And you can see it in his eyes. And this is like an older Leonardo DiCaprio and you're like, holy shit. Like he is, like you believe what he's doing.
Yeah.
That's cool. When you can see an actor go really deep and become something like Christian Bale.
Oh, yeah.
Christian Bale is one of the best actors. If you've ever seen him and Hugh Jackman in that like magician movie, what's that called?
Was it early 2000s?
Yeah.
I have. There was a couple of them that came out at the same time.
Where the guy could like, it looked like he died.
Yeah, I can't think of what it's called. Because there was two magician ones almost that came out.
Yeah. There was one with
really
Edward
close
Norton
to
and
it.
stuff.
I
Yeah.
can't think of their names right now.
But that one was
The
so...
Illusionist?
Yes.
Is that one of them?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay, I was like, there's two. And
Yeah,
that might
yeah.
have been one of them. I can't think of the other.
It's sad that now we don't have that. It's really sad we don't have that anymore because that was something I looked forward to was the good movies coming out in the summertime. And I loved going to the film.
Yeah.
I loved going, not because of, I didn't care how much I spent on it. You know, people bitch about it.
Experience.
But it was the experience. Exactly.
You don't get a good experience. Like, it's fine. I go and I'm like, well, I'm just watching a movie at the theater now. But it's not a great movie half the time. I can watch a shitty movie at home, and I can smoke weed the entire time. I can eat whatever fucking snacks I want, and I'll pause it when I have to go pee. And then I'll be like, all right, cool.
But
So-
there's something about that when you go to a theater and experience, like Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah. If it was an amazing movie, that's a different experience. But they have to write and make
A good movie.
a good movie. And the actors have to really be in there as the role. Like, they have to live and be that role in it. And it's, I don't know. I can't do that probably.
Dude.
I don't think I can.
Streaming has killed off creativity.
Yeah. I bet indie stuff would be better than mainstream stuff most of the time now.
Yeah.
Just because you get more of the creativity. The stupid garbage from Hollywood that's been coming out is like, Disties. It's Disties. Here's another thing of toilet water. You want some hot dog water? Hollywood's got something new.
There was a show in the early 2000s called The Shield. Did I ever tell you about that one?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen that.
So it's about this narcotics team in LA,
Mhm.
but they're crooked. So they're working, and this is like one of the first what do they call them? It's something hero. The anti-hero.
Okay, yeah.
They're anti-hero shows. This same guy did Sons of Anarchy.
Okay, yeah.
And then after that, you've got every other one that's just the same fucking show now.
I
like
liked
Yellowstone.
Sons of Anarchy for a
Yellowstone
little bit.
is
Oh, it was
Cowboys and Anarchy.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll take it to the train station.
Yep.
Right?
Did you watch Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah, I finished the whole thing.
Okay. I watched a good portion of it, and then I got bored with it, like
It's
most
the
shows.
same fucking show.
But the thing that really, really disappointed me, because I was riding a motorcycle all the time when I watched it, was after I learned that none of them were riding, they were all fucking on training wheels the whole time for that. And I'm like, this is... And so I stopped. I was like, this is dumb. I'm not going to watch that again.
Well, I mean, most of them aren't Tom Cruise.
I know.
And most of them are like, most of them have no idea how to ride
But
bikes
for a
like that.
rider who rides all the time, and I was watching it, and then I was like, none of them are riding. This is dumb.
I always thought it was funny. Like, you know, I remember this friend of mine, she's like all into Harleys and stuff and only like Harley
Yeah.
guys. And I'm like, what do you and your boyfriends do during the winter? Just snuggle up, watch Sons of Anarchy? She's just like, shut up. And I'm like, well, I'm just saying, like, kind of limited there unless you live in like Arizona or California.
yeah.
Now she lives in Arizona, dude. So, I mean, whatever.
I mean, I'd take my bike out even in the winter when it's above 50 degrees. I'd put on my cold weather gear. But then the
No, I
problem
totally
is
get that.
you still are frozen through by the time you're moving, because 50 degrees when you're moving is like mid-30s, and
Yeah.
about an hour you're chilled to the bone still, and you're like, I think I'm good. I got my ride in.
No, man, but it just you see these things and it's still the same thing. It's like Yellowstone. I really liked Yellowstone, but then you know what I did? I just like the characters of this new exact same trope being told over and over and over. Because what happens towards the end? Everybody dies.
It's like music, or stories. Everyone's just retelling a story in their own method. It's, hey, I learned this information or I heard this story and I can make it.
I get that, but it's like Quentin Tarantino.
Oh,
They're not all in the same universe.
no, his are very unique.
Every single one is very different from the next. The guy who wrote Sons of Anarchy wrote The Shield. I'll take a little bit more. This stuff's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's been a day of candy gas. So, I don't know what you guys are dabbing on, but candy gas has actually been quite pleasant. Go check it out if you guys haven't.
Yeah, and use code
Cannabis School.
at checkout. Get yourself one of these rigs. This is by far the best e-rig we have ever tried up to this point, and we like it a lot. Stay tuned. I think we're going to get some type of giveaway set up on that one, too. Oh, yeah, man. Where we at? Man, we went way off. But this has been a cool direction. So, yeah, man, it's hard because nowadays, like, even with my kids, like, when we watch movies, like, I really got, like, we watched Minecraft.
Oh. Yeah, so did I.
You know what? It's not bad. It's just entertaining. Bad. It was fun. And it was, you know what it was? And it made fun of itself because it was in the universe it's in. That's pretty fucked up right now where I go. The best movie that I've seen, new movie that I've seen, is Minecraft.
That's sad.
That's really sad because it's a dumb kid movie.
It is.
But that's okay. It's supposed to be a dumb kid movie. It's supposed to be make-believe.
Yeah, it was the intended purpose.
Right. And they did awesome. Jason Momoa, great character. He was funny. Yeah. And Jack Black, you know what?
I love Jack Black.
I feel bad. Dude, check your diabetes, bro. Check your diabetes.
Oh, shit.
Just from one diabetic to another, bro. Check that shit. You don't lose all the weight, but you got me concerned, dude. Looks like growths.
Yeah.
But
it's brutal.
It's just, I want to show my kids movies from the past, but when that even starts to go like, were they really that good? And I go back to the 80s movies.
Some of them are, some aren't.
80s movies? Yeah, they still are. They're the exact same movies I remember as a kid. They're good.
Did you ever watch Undercover Blues with Dennis Quaid?
And Dennis Quaid and Kathleen Turner? Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
That was like one of the... For some reason, my parents loved that movie, and even though it said fuck, we were allowed to watch it. And we were allowed to watch it since I was like 6. Like, I probably quoted that movie all the time growing up.
Well, yeah, it's the only movie you guys could watch in your home.
And I was like, what the hell? My parents were so anal about everything except for music. They didn't ever check my music, ever. Right? But like, anything else? No, definitely not. And so that one was surprising because our cousins would come over and we showed it to Wimmers, and they were like, wait, your parents let you watch this? We're like, yeah. And all we would do is we'd turn it down when it said fuck. And that was it.
You knew exactly when.
Because and that was it. You walk over to the receiver, fuck.
Yeah, I remember the first 2 movies that I watched over and over was The Heavenly Kid and Back to the Future.
Oh, okay.
Because my dad went to this Reams. You remember the big skating ring?
Yeah.
With the giant pair of pants hanging from the rafters?
That's been ages.
And he went there, and off to the corner, dude, their video store was this janky setup, dude. Somebody had enough leftover wood that they built themselves these like steeple shelves for the videos with the plywood back, and then they built shelves into this nook, and then there was this wooden shelf made. Like, dude,
that's inside the ring.
It was inside the Ringstone. And you would go over there and you would rent. You could rent videos, the cassette tapes, and they're in the big, fat plastic clicking ones.
Oh yeah,
and not the squeeze bottoms. And so you'd take that over there, and you could rent another VCR. And my dad had got a VCR, and so that's how you could record if you had the cables. And my dad's friend says, hey, if you take these cables and you put them in here, la raza, right? You're going to get that shit going, bro. And so it's just like, my dad was, he only ripped 2 movies. He made copies of them. And that was The Heavenly Kid and Back to the Future. And back then it was like $3.75 to rent. But back then in the 80s, that's a
good
lot.
amount of
That's a
money,
good amount of
yeah.
money, dude.
Oh, yeah.
That's like $8 today
You
or
had to
something
watch
like that,
one
right?
movie.
And so, but there's something to be said. Like that whole process. Like I still remember that. I remember how big of it, dude. The fucking VCR came in this like giant gun Pelican case. Like
That's
it was like you
insane.
hold it, and it was
Yeah.
like, and you go.
I didn't know they rented VCRs.
Oh yeah.
We had one at one point. I don't remember when we got one. I just remember having a TV and a VCR at one point, like early when I can remember stuff. And then I remember having a computer when I was like 3. And then my dad always had massive stereo speakers that tall.
Yeah, my dad did too.
And a record player and a million records. And, it went from that to surround sound and stuff. So it is...
Dude, I had a pretty, I've said multiple times, I had a pretty liberal parents growing up because they were gone. And they didn't get along with each other. So, we were kind of left to do whatever.
Yeah.
But I have fond memories of watching, Army of Darkness and Evil Dead and all of Mel Brooks films, watching Blazing Saddles. And
did you ever watch the 28 days later, 28 weeks
yeah.
later, the 28 years later is coming out? I saw a thing that they used for some of the recording, 20 different iPhones for certain scenes that they would use. And I was like, that's very interesting. Like,
oh, yeah.
We wanted to make it in the very same style of the self-filmed and that. And, well, we're in the era of everyone has an iPhone or a smartphone. So they created these special things and that with 20 iPhones and that mounted to it for specific scenes. And I was like, that's very unique style.
I wonder if they're going to use the same character because, if you go, remember in 28 Weeks Later, Jeremy Renner was this special forces guy that was dropped into Britain.
It's been so
to
long
extract
since I've seen
people.
it.
I just had that
I've
kind of
got to go
memory.
rewatch it.
I
but was
saw
like,
that
ooh.
when it came out. I've never seen it again. Makes me want to go
Same.
see it again.
Yeah, I haven't either. That's I might.
The first one was cool. When they would get the blood in their system, it would just make them angry. They weren't zombies.
Yeah.
They were just angry and. But yeah, dude, I hope they use this guy. He saves these 2 kids to get them out of the city, and I think he sacrifices himself or something like that, something noble.
Yeah.
But it was really cool because if now we're seeing this guy with long hair and a beard, and I'm like, dude, I wonder if it's that kid, and I'm hoping it is because I saw the trailer and I was like, it's been a while since I've seen a good zombie film.
Right? That's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh, shoot.
Like Dawn of the
back
Dead?
And watch it.
Oh, dude, that movie's so dumb, too. Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
It's so funny. My wife was one of our first memories. She was like, oh, I think this movie would be fun to go see with my sisters because my buddy Taylor and I
sisters?
Yeah, and this was funny, dude, because so here's the story. My buddy Taylor and I, we were watching, we go, oh, this zombie movie's coming, let's go out. And we both we're just comedic all the time, and we're really funny together. And dude, we just feed off each other, and we are cracking up the entire theater because we're there's a dude, he's walking in this giant mall, and he's got a crowbar. And he switches it out for a croquet mallet. What the fuck is this guy doing? He's just what?
Yeah.
And of course it breaks and he uses it to shove through something's head. But I'm just dude, what?
Yeah.
And
that's my first thought. Why would you ever switch a steel crowbar for a fucking wooden mallet?
But the whole time, we watched that movie, and that movie is intense. When they go down to the parking garage and they think they can get through there, and they're running at him. Zombies are always slow, but in George A. Romero's universe, they run. And that's fucking terrible. It's like that game you played.
Oh, Days Gone.
Yes.
I love that because the zombies, and there's hordes of them, but they run. They will chase you. And so you're jumping on your motorcycle trying to get away. And if you're not fast, they will
Dude, that's why
I love
no, it's those types of things that I love watching. Even the games, I like watching someone play it. I got to be on the same couch. I can't sit there. I got to watch.
Now I feel like I got to go get the upgraded version for the PS5 because now I'm thinking about how cool it was even on the PS4 version, and I'm sure they have so much more
bugs.
Oh,
but
that's true.
But that game, it's zombie thing, man. That'd be so cool to see. I just want better entertainment. Not that I need to be distracted. I just like being entertained. That's why one thing that I heard recently, and I'll shut up, Cannes, the big film festival that they do in France, they gave Robert De Niro a Lifetime Award, right? They're like, hey, crusty old fucker, here you go.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets up there just to go off about Trump. So then somebody starts interviewing Tom Cruise for his last Mission Impossible film. And they're like, what are your feelings about the politics? And he goes, hey, we're here to talk about movies. I don't talk about that stuff. It's not important.
Yeah.
I'm here to entertain you. I've worked hard to make movies for you. I made this for you, and I want you to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, and this is the same thing in that video, dude. Everybody's like, Tom Cruise used to be controversial. He used to say shit. He used to get mad at people if you asked him about Scientology or anything. And then all of a sudden, he just went flat. He's like, no.
Interesting.
I'm just going to go hang off airplane. Dude, watch that scene from that movie. And this guy's like, yeah, this broke him. Philip Seymour Hoffman said that the entire scene was made up by Tom.
You'll have to send it to me.
It's intense. It's intense, but it's cool. Like, that's what I appreciate from people who are really good actors, is that they can immerse themselves.
That's what I loved, like The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger, where he was the Joker. That was one of my favorite movies for so long, just because of like the character play,
range.
Like, how well.
Where did that come from?
I have no idea.
Right?
Blew me away, and then it was
fucking
so
nuts.
heartbreaking to go. He OD'd. Fuck.
Yeah.
One of his best plays, like best role acting I think I've ever seen him do, and he just,
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Matthew McConaughey. Watch him in True Detective, first season of True Detective.
Okay.
Whoa. He goes dark. Really dark. With one of his best friends, who possibly is his actual half-brother, Woody Harrelson.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson's dad was a hitman.
In real life or
in real life.
Holy fuck.
And his dad had hooked up with Matthew's mom.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so they don't know.
That's wild.
Right? But
I don't think that's in Green Lights in Matthew McConaughey's book. So.
Oh, no, it's something recently that
they've kind of come out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of
That's
like
hilarious.
a coincidence. I mean, it may not be, but
maybe.
Just
Who
crazy intersections, right? But they
Yeah.
kind of look similar.
Another way off topic, but kind of funny thing I saw was with all this AI stuff coming out, there was this AI company called Builder AI. I'm sure you've seen or heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly they were coding and building apps for people and saying it was AI doing it. It was actually just a bunch of Indian coders on the back end coding it. And it came out supposedly that might be. I haven't gotten to look more into it, but I was like, is that actually?
Dude, like, it's so fun. Well, that's the thing. Like, the reason why it's so funny is because that people believe that AI can do all these things. Look, it's just a mirror. It will only be as good as the wielder who wields it.
Yes.
And if you can use it to teach you more about things and then being able to apply that, you'll be surprised what you can create.
But you still have to be
It's still human driven.
Yeah, the funny thing that I read yesterday was, gosh, they were going into, I don't remember if it was RFK or Trump's administration, but it was a specific report they were going over, and it was saying that a lot of the claims that were in there were on data points that didn't exist, on studies that had never been done.
What are we talking about here?
Just things that, like, RFK was claiming there were certain studies and stuff, and it was like claims that were like, hey, this study here did this, and they, like, had gone out to the people that they said the studies came from, asking them about them. They're like, we've never done a study on that. We've never written a paper on that. That's never even existed. So
he's going to resign soon.
But they're like, AI actually creates articles as well. So mostly they said that probably was an AI generated thing that was like, hey, find us all this stuff. And it was like, they create articles sometimes that don't actually exist, or data points that'll go, hey, well, this one here. And it's like, well, but if that's not actually real and that's what's being pushed out too, like, that's also a very different narrative, even just general AI. You know?
That's a good point, because AI has actually, so I've got a friend who is transitioning. Well, he's transitioning from SEO because SEO is a dying part of marketing. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because the new driver is AI driven. Even what's his name? What's it called? Google's AI. Their original
Gemini?
No,
their original one? I have no idea.
No.
The original one is?
No, it's the one that's the head of it now, but they've got a newer one that was able to use for quantum computing. And the craziest thing is quantum computing uses light. It doesn't use typical... It's completely different, but they used this quantum computer to be able to do a calculation that would have taken all the supercomputers on Earth
ages to do.
I mean, the numbers...
Endless amounts of years.
Yeah, endless. It's beyond millions. And they did it in an hour. And so this is what they're trying to mesh in with AI.
Yeah.
And so, ethical, we don't know. It could be the atom bomb like Oppenheimer thought, because their belief wasn't like, oh, we'll build this bomb for the U.S. and we'll be able to win. They literally thought, like, if their calculations were wrong, they would destroy the entire world.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, to them, they literally did. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Kind of a similar thing, what these guys are doing, but they're doing it real, like, cavalier. Just running at it and doing whatever they want. And the reasons why is just because, well, they're going to do it. Why can't we do it?
Someone's going to, so we need to too. And it's, I mean, that's why there's so many all hopping out at the same time. Oh, we need to, and instead of, well, we can just use this backbone and white label it, we need to create our whole backbone, do our own independent one, start from scratch. And it's like, okay, well, is that truly necessary? But
no, it's like the Facebook AI Center, and Facebook's AI, like, somebody could argue, yeah, it's no, I don't think it's great. I've tried it multiple times. It's ChatGPT 2.5. That's what it feels like.
Oh, so old chat.
It's super old, and it's good.
Well, they even have it built into like my Gmail and everything else now. It's like, oh, have this, and I'm like, no.
Well, and that's the thing. Here's the statistic that they've actually been able to pull from mid 2024 to now. 70% of the content that is online is AI generated.
Yeah.
That's the reason why, is because those people out there going, hey, chat, create me a blog about my business and how I help my customers. That's it. That's what it gives them. Yeah. You have to go so in depth.
But it's so boring and so very...
And that's why right now people are going, well, why are these no-name people popping up in the algorithms of YouTube? Yeah. Why are these no-name companies coming up to the top of my Google search? Ranking is no longer relevant.
No.
It's resonance.
Yeah.
I have to resonate with my audience through original content. AI can help you create it, but you can't have it make it for you. And that's why it is like people are trying to change their position in marketing. They're like,
yeah. Well, you have to.
Big SEO companies that are around here in Utah, they're doing something else completely. They're going away because...
Well, you either have to, restructure, realign, or...
You have to create a whole new system. Yeah. It's like going back to the beginning. And that's why everybody's like, well, why would Google do that? Well, why they're creating one of the most sophisticated AIs systems out there.
And, that would be used by, again, Google. How many people have been Googling for the last 20 years?
Dude, everybody's in a race to be the monopoly, because not only Google will be able to power your car, it'll power your phones. Maybe you won't even need phones.
Yeah.
Like, as fast as we are going with it on technology side, there's some cool stuff on the science side, on language side, like stuff we've been able to find out about our past. Like, it's so cool.
I can just imagine, like, the ability to translate and do other things that the time and the manpower and like the work put into to do that. Seconds.
Dude, for people who are getting into it, who are learning with it, who are creating their own partner with that AI, if you're just having it create random shit and then you just take it, then you get RFK crap.
Yeah.
Well, they said. No, I'm not going to make fun of him, but I mean,
he does it on his own.
Dude, you got to see that. There's an interview with this comedian. He's hilarious, and he's really good friends with RFK, and he makes fun of RFK to his face, doing the same voice. And RFK takes it. I mean, it was something that happened to him. He's like, well, whatever.
That's hilarious.
it's like that. That's that weird fear. Like people go, oh, well, chat told me this. Like, no. You have to talk with it.
And you have to fact check, and you have to source check sometimes, and you have to, like, it's not...
Always ask for sources.
It's a great
it will give you
tool.
sources, but
Yeah.
say, I need you to list out all the sources over here, and they all need to be credible. No third party. No anything from like tabloid-ish.
Yeah, random shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
No entertainment.
Yeah.
No big name news.
Like I want
Don't give
to
me
check.
that.
I'm like, and I want to check from all these perspectives because I don't want to get the one narrative. I want to get.
Yeah. I trust independent media now way more than I will ever trust. And even if the bigger named YouTube shows, dude, they all feel like they're bought and paid for. I'm like,
yeah.
And that's the hard part. But no, I think it's
And we're not bought and paid for it. Go check out our OnlyFans. You'll find out.
gross. That's Brandon. That's Brandon all over there. And yet another pose. All right, guys. Hey,
put my foot behind my head.
you imagine that?
No.
Somebody in there, somebody's
is.
imagining it right now. They're like, hey, there's a couple
I'm on the right strain. I'm
couple
oh
you
shit, I'm
freaks out
picturing
there.
that.
Send a private message over there to Brandon. Get the deets.
And tune in next week.
Yeah. Hey, guys. Take care.